On that note, I'm going to introduce our guest tonight. Tonight is Sacha Christie's with us, and most of y'all should know who Sasha is. If you don't, shame on you. But everybody who listens to us in the UK, if you don't know who Sasha is, freaking double shame on you, okay? Y'all should have known Sasha long before she ever met me in the UK, and if you didn't, triple shame on y'all. Now, also, Sasha was just recently speaking, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute. I'm gonna bring her on and let her talk a little bit about herself and that. But really, I know we have a really big audience in Europe and a really big audience in the UK. And guys, she is iCar's eyes and ears and mouth in the UK. And I'm sure y'all not going to always agree with her. She's going to make me crazy from time to time, like all the directors do. But she is. And I just want people to understand that up front. Sasha, welcome to the show, sweetie. How you been?
Howdy-hoo. Oh, yeah, I'm great.
Okay. I know you just want me to shut up so you can talk. That's all.
No.
Right.
Oh, actually, you know, when you were talking about the flight tracker, I've got one on my website because I wanted a flight tracker, wind direction, constellations, so people can rule a few things out, you know, so that they don't just go, ooh, and start reporting nothing.
Hey, guys, well, you know, hold on. Hello, who just called in with us? Hey, is there a caller out there? Hello, caller.
Hello.
Who's that? Caller. Hello, caller. I guess we scared the caller. Well, from the 208 area code, if you'd like to call back, you can. But you know, if you're not going to say no, we're going to have to let you go. See, Sasha, we just scared the crap out of people. Oh, wait, that brings up something else. Well, that brings up something else. I got a letter from Crystal and Denise from Glen Rose, Texas. And they had attended the conference, and they were talking to us at the conference. Hold on a minute, caller. And both of them said they were scared to come up and talk to Linda and I. And I was thinking, God, I am probably the most approachable person that you can approach at a conference. I'll talk to anybody, man. Come on. So, sister, I know y'all listen tonight. I want you to know, if you ever see us at a conference anywhere, if you'd like to call in and talk to us, feel free. I mean, that's what we're actually there for, to meet new people. 208 caller, you're going to have to call back. Just call back in a minute, and I'll put you back in the queue. But for Denise and Crystal, yeah, anytime. So we're all approachable. That's why we attend conferences. We work the conferences. We go to meet new contactees, to meet new people, to meet people who may be interested in helping out with what we're doing. I mean, that's what we're there for. So don't ever hesitate to come up and talk to us. And you know, I'm infamous for dragging people into big conversations at places like that. So again, feel free. Okay, now we get back to what we were talking about, Sasha, before we was interrupted there. And again, caller, you can call back in anytime you like. Where was I? Oh, well, first off, we got to backtrack here a little bit. I know we were talking about the airport monitor thing. So you have it on your site, and I'm glad you said that, because it really should be on our site. So I'm gonna talk with, I'm not gonna say her name right here, but one of our other directors, and see about getting one installed on the site, because it is really a good thing. And I know in the U.S. they have a national tracker. I'll have to find out if it's a charge or not, but I know they actually have a national tracker.
The one on my site, it's like, it goes out, it tells you, you know, like, it's all over the world, and it tells you how many planes are in the air, where. Like, at the moment, there's 29 in the air in the Ukraine, 34 in Egypt, you know, like...
Oh, so it's tapped out. That's even done. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, these things are fantastic. I mean, you can rule out so much so fast. And it does take a lot of legwork, but hey, that's what we're here for. And, you know, I got to be honest with everybody listening to Sasha and I tonight. We've got it way better than the UFO hunters 30 years ago did. We have really cool technology. We have night scopes we can use. We've got airport trackers and monitors. We've got satellite trackers and monitors. We've got mobile laptops with mobile stuff. I mean, we can be...
It's not making it any easier, is it?
I know. I mean, really. I mean, today is the day to get involved with this, ladies. Really. I mean, this is the time, because somebody somewhere is going to get that picture, interview or something, because the way we're connected now, I mean, literally, we're you know, if MUFON could have been disconnected when MUFON first got into this in the 60s, I think they might have broke the story. Because back then more people were willing to talk about it than they are today. But, you know, they didn't have the tech we got, but now we're connected everywhere. I mean, you know, just think of it like this. I can get hold of any of my directors anywhere in the world in a matter of minutes, even if I'm not, even without a phone, because most of us are on Skype. It's just phenomenal. It really is.
I know, it's crazy. Somebody having a go at me today on my page about saying, oh, it's just a computer, these people aren't real, they're not really your friends, and it's like, God, you've got no idea. I wouldn't actually be doing any of this, or, have any kind of brain left, if it wasn't for it, you know what I mean?
Oh, I know. I actually got some really good friends I met online. Now, a lot of them I have since met in person, but still, they were good friends before I met them in person.
It's like everybody that I've met pretty much is like, first of all, I've had a conversation with them online. The people that I'm friends with, I met, the first people that I spoke to, I went to the conference with, last weekend, and that we've been ever since, and all the people that you meet at these places, you end up being friends with them forever, avoiding them forever.
Well, that's true. That's true. Well, that's true. I mean, there are some people I'd rather not see if I didn't have to. Well, first off, we don't all agree with everybody, and sometimes there's differences of opinion. And, inside the ICAR, we're lucky, because the personalities in the group allow us to agree and disagree without getting our feelings hurt. But, man, outside it's different. People get all offended and stuff if you don't, think what they're telling you is true. And I get, by the way, Sasha, I get in trouble with contactees all the time because of this. Because, I listen to so many contactees and I'm like, look, I know all this space stuff and, how you started from your mother to here and, your childhood experiences and so on and so forth. And I'm thinking when they all get to the end, to the alien agendas and what's going on and stuff like that, everybody tells me something different. I'm like, look, guys, some of us have to accept the fact that not everything we think is real is actually real or true, is what I should say. And boy, I get in trouble for that. Because I personally don't know which one it is.
It's right. It's absolutely right in what you're saying. I mean, some of the things I remember differently now because I've seen beyond what was put there. So you can't, nobody, you can say what's happened to you, but then after that, it's completely speculation. You can't say that you have the answers of what the agenda is because that's just rubbish. Nobody has nobody knows, really.
Yeah, I learn more every day, and I've said this a million times on air. Some things that I used to think was how it was, isn't how it is. It's different. It's turned out to be different. And of course, we've had to change our opinions. And inside the organization, sometimes we'll have to formulate new opinions and new ideas. And it's hard to give up something that you think is right for 10 years because you learned something new. But you have to. You got to be willing to expand and grow. And I think that's what gives us an edge on most everybody else out there because we're all willing to say, "Hey, shit, we screwed up. That's not what it was. This is actually what it is."
Well, it's like when I was at school in the 70s, 80s. What we were taught then is no longer true or relevant anymore, 30 years later. All the physics side of things as well, especially, it's like, well, that's just pretty rubbish, So,
yeah, a lot of it has gone the way of the dodo bird. It's a strange thing. Now, I know a lot of people want to know, because you were at the conference weekend before last.
Yeah,
and I just got
I've been a blur since.
I got a letter in my email from Peter. I hadn't had a chance to read it yet. I just checked it today because I don't always get on Facebook every day, and so I haven't had a chance to read it yet. So I'm looking to read it and see how he said things went. But now, first off, because you was one of the speakers, they put you on a spot and put you up there early. Say you're going to speak now.
Yeah, I was first. Yeah.
So y'all hear that? Sasha was on first. Now, and to make y'all understand the importance of the first speaker, in the United States, you usually only see one or two people speaking first, Stanton Friedman or Richard Dolan. That's usually who they put first because, you can let somebody get up early in the morning and come listen to you like me because, if I've been up late and drinking, I am not one to get up at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning and go listen to somebody talk about UFOs. So it's got to be somebody that's going to draw you and bring you in there. So kudos on that. Now, was you awake and ready to go?
Oh, yeah, totally. I couldn't wait. I was really excited. A little bit nervous, but not really. It was really mad. God, I've said it all so many times before. It's like, it's not like I had all my notes there and everything, and I've written all this stuff that I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it, And then I kept picking them up and sort of referring back to them just for points. And, when I've watched the video back, you can see me sort of reading a few lines into it, and then I go, but blah, 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 and I just go off on one. And eventually, when I'd done this talk, it was not what I'd planned at all. I'd just completely gone off on tangents, and it all tied together really well, you know, and no, I was really pleased with it. So it's given me a little bit more confidence for maybe just, you know, getting out there and just talking. I don't really need notes. God almighty.
Well,
you know?
some of the best speakers will be people that can just speak standing up there. It's harder for me, you know. For me, it's different because some of my shows I prefer to be somewhat guided, you know, somewhat organized because we're doing particular topics. And I have to, you know, and a lot of the directors insist that we do it so that it's in a, you know, a way that, you know, any newbie coming in. But, you know, personally, like the Golf Breeze video I did a couple of years ago, it's still the #1 radio clip on the network. Yeah. I think it's over like 10,000 plays now, and something like almost 2 million downloads. It's just me blabbering basically about golf. It's really what it is. I mean, I don't want to sell it up for more than it is, but there's other ones like that. There's other ones where it's like me and you or some of the directors are just chit chatting, nothing formal. And those shows do really, really well because first off, it's the topic matter people are interested in. And you're hearing it from the people who are actually working or being contacted. It's not someone outside the field or a researcher that's never had an experience. These are actually experiencers and researchers all sitting together chit-chatting. It's just a much better, you know, you learn way, way more that way. You really did. Now, so wait, did you even sleep the night before?
Yeah, I slept really well. You know, it was just like, I know. I went to bed about midnight, got up, and, you know, got my face out of a bag and stuck it on and brushed my hair, put my posh dress on. And then when I got there, I was like sort of running around a little bit, but no, I didn't feel like I thought I would, you know. I thought I wasn't feeling nerve, it'll be last minute I'll feel the nerves, and I don't really want, because I think, you know, what it is, I'm so familiar, that place is so familiar to me. Larry is like one of my best friends. Yeah, you know, all the people know that, I know, you know, and there were a lot of my friends there, and it was just great, you know, like Brenda was there, she's not been well recently, and, you know, spoke about some stuff that had gone on there, but it's like, you know, it's the best place to be, because that's where you kind of like, that's where you hear all the best bits, you know, you don't hear other people's versions of somebody's experiences, you hear it from them, you know, and you can feel it coming off them, so that's why I love these places, but, no, it was just a really good atmosphere, and somebody's written a blog called, Shrink-wrapped aliens and cheese sandwiches or something, you know, dissing the whole thing, and it's like, my God, everyone put it together in 9 weeks after it was destroyed by Jim and John, as it was before, you know, when they were going to be speaking. And, you know, they had all those brilliant speakers on, a real good calibre of guests, you know, and it was only £20 and it was all day, and somebody had to moan about it. I thought, I'm not even going to read it, you know, I'll go superluminal.
Well, I have not heard anything bad at all. I mean, I haven't. I've talked to several people who attended and several people who were, well, 2 of them speakers, but, well, 3 counting you, but, I mean, I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about it.
Yeah, well,
now,
you know,
now John
Jim and John have actually sort of like become great fans of this blog.
Well, you know, that's a different thing. They just hate me. I haven't even done these guys anything, and they hate me. I'm like, Lord. I said, I talked to you and Larry when they were on my like for weeks, which I thought was funny because you know how I am about people like that. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Actually, one of them wrote something on my Facebook page, and I just ignored it, and then he wrote something again and ignored it, and finally I said, look, when you get growed up and you become important enough to deserve my attention, I'll answer that, but until then, you're wasting your time. And, well, because, look, if you're not willing to put your money where your mouth is, there's no reason to be talking to me. You know, I talk to contactees all the time. I know there was a lot that went on in Rendlesham. I know there's more there than meets the eye. I'm positive that there's military abductions involved, and I'm relatively sure there was some type of ET abduction involved. But, you know, the only one I have access to is Larry to really talk to about it.
But he's the only one with any accuracy anyway, so that's the only one that you
But, I mean, he's passed,
that's you know. Lost space completely. Sorry, in time.
Yeah. Well, I sent Peter all the scores and all their tapes. I forgot to send him. I had a tape I had made, an audio clip with just my footnotes and some other personal points. I should have sent them that too. But anyway, they got what they needed. Just all their scores were plus 90. An 80 or better really tells if you're telling the truth, or if the stress is legitimate. And in their case, it seemed to be so. And Larry, and there was a couple times when the thing said Larry was lying, but it wasn't that he was lying about anything important. I don't want people to take it the wrong way, because I'm sure I'm going to hear about this. One of them was when he said, if the aliens could land right here, it wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, right.
Obviously, that was a load of crap. There was another time when he was talking about something about the car, and obviously the car had made him mad, or something had made him mad about the car, but he was acting like it wasn't. That was obviously. But it was stuff that should be. It was I know what you mean about the car. It's absolutely nothing. So everything he did really well. Like I said, they did 90, but even Peter did. The funny part about these tapes were, a lot of these tapes, Sasha, were just him and Larry walking through the woods in Regression, talking. Very nonchalant, just walking, and occasionally they'd see some lights and they would get excited. You could see the levels go up in the meters because they were excited. They would think it was this and think it was that, and the meters would go up accordingly. And it was really a nice way to do this, because it's rare I get to voice stress someone when they're that relaxed and just hanging out and chatting. I mean, there's, as far as they were concerned, no one was ever going to hear those tapes but them too. Yeah. And it's been, I think the tapes are 20 years old that Peter had sent me, so really, no one had heard them but them too. So the simple fact that they allowed me to voice stress and said a lot about both their credibilities right off the bat.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then, of course,
the hide. He even says that, that he knows some of the stuff that he remembers is not true, because he knows that he's never missed it. But, you tell me how he would ever be able to see any footage of the 3 UFOs on the, on the moon crater and the Apollo mission. Right? Now, if you bear in mind, he's saying he's seen this in 1980, right? He spoke to Linda Moult in 1984, and he said all of this then. The internet didn't even exist, so there's no way that he would have been able to see that. So there is the, the total veracity to the claims that he's this event in this room where they were all shown these UFO clips actually happened, and that's where they said that bullets were cheap if they didn't keep quiet. So that it just makes that absolutely, well, how could he even know any of that then? No. It's just to me, I really like the case. It's one of my. I like the Rendlesham case. I like the Shag Harbor case. Both those cases I like. The Hills case I like, but not for the reasons that everybody else does. I like it because I know what really happened. Yeah, because the Mile Labs aspect of it. Yeah, because I know what really happened there. So that's why I like that case. And then, but like the Ketzberg, I really think Ketzberg was not alien. I really think it was Russian or ours or something else. Do you think it was a satellite or something? It sounds like the shape of it, when it just sounded like one of our craft, and frankly, so I'm kind of like, look, and the thing of it is, and this is something the community on all the parts of the planet, not everything is going to be ET. A lot of this is going to be government or BS, and if you're a smart researcher, you will realize that, and you will say it outright. You'll say, no, we don't think this is alien. We think this was current. And then it gives you more credibility because you're not always thinking everything is a freaking extraterrestrial. It's the people who always say everything. I got to be honest with y'all. I've got issues with people who tell me everything in their life is extraterrestrial. It's not that I don't think ET and big contactees lies. I mean, full-blown contactees. I do think a lot of what goes on in their life is directly related to ET, but a lot of it is just simply human choices. And it's easy to blame ET because we're dumbasses sometimes, but it's not the right thing to do. And it makes my job harder, people. Come on. Because I, as a contactee, and as many as I do, I know there are times in our life where the SOBs are just doing things that, we'd probably like to just put a cap in their head. And that's why I'm just trying to be polite because we're G-rated, or trying to be G-rated. But there are times when I know that it's outright BS, or it has nothing to do with them at all. When I'm mad about something, much like Barack, which you all know I love and think is the greatest person on the planet. So that has nothing to lobotomized? I know. That has nothing to do with ET. Now, you see, what I was saying was true. Then y'all can say, oh, yeah, ET got a hold of Joe, but, oh, no.
So some things are us and some things are ET. So I just want to get that out there. Now, so you got up there, did you do any Q&A?
Didn't have time, you know me. I crammed it all. I thought, well, said, oh, you've got an hour and a half. I thought, well, what's an hour and a half? I mean, how many words can I fit into an hour and a half? I mean, you know, lots. So I thought, right, okay, we'll stage it, we'll stagger it with photographs. I went back to Wales. Me and Dave went back and we filmed the area. I found the house where it happened and took some photos and some footage and sort of explained what happened. And you know, it was really quite emotional, especially when we got to this little this section of road where there was a road sign I could go left or right. Left was to Berwyn Mountains and right was to Glencarriog, and you know, we had a counter. Obviously, Berwyn Mountain, there was the famous UFO crash in the 70s. So I was just like, oh. But the funny thing was, is when we went back to Wales to film this, we went up on the top of the Orme, which is a big hill. We went up in the old Victorian cable car. Got to the top and had our photograph taken in Victorian dress, right? We were having hysterics and the woman said to us, how much have you two had to drink? We went, nothing. Well, you know, we're just like this. Dave says we're time travellers. Trying to get back to 1972. So waiting for this photograph to be developed, wandered around the corner to go into the pub that's attached to this thing to have a drink while we wait. Straight into this UFO museum. They've got this big metal, you know, the UFO from Predator hanging from the ceiling. So I just looked at it, I was like, oh my God, I don't believe it. And I'm looking at the signs on the wall, it's going, have you been abducted by aliens? These are the signs. This is a UFO hotspot, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I spoke to this guy, Bob, I said, is this your little corner of the world? He said, yeah. I was like, I can't believe this. I said, I've only come to Wales, you know, to film where I had a UFO encounter with a load of other people, you know. I just can't believe it. We were just sort of looking at each other agog. So, yeah, that was pretty nuts. So, yeah, I went back there, and it's, like, exactly the same, but completely different. You know, it looks like someone lives there now, instead of it being a holiday cottage, and all the outbuildings that I described before when I've spoken to you, they've all been turned into dwellings as well. And, God, it was just mad. It's just mad to think that that's where it all happened, you know. It's just a place, it's just a house, but to me, for the past 14 years, it's been this kind of a haunting, you know. Think of this house, it's in my head every day, and it's like Amityville. Do you know what I mean? That feeling that you get, and it's really, really strange. But so I added that into the talk, and loads of photographs of all kinds of nonsense over the years. Yeah, I thought I did quite well, actually.
Well, I can't wait to see it. I know somebody just said it's up on your site, SashaChristie.com. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, all you got to do is click on her picture on the UFO Undercover site or her name. Either way, it'll take you right to her site. Just click, and away you go. I'll make sure later on I'll put it up on my Facebook pages, or I'll have Sasha put it up. But either way, y'all go over there and check it out.
I've already posted it on, yeah.
All right, so it's already up, then, guys. Y'all can catch it up on Facebook. If y'all can't find it, just write to me. I'll make sure you get it. But it is SashaChristie.com. It's just pretty straightforward. It's kind of like iCall1.com. We try to make things simple, guys. Come on. The simpler, the better. You know, as we age, our brains don't work quite as well, so we need it simple. Besides, I got a lot of stuff I got to keep in mind, so I need it really simple. It needs to be just kind of slowed down. Now, so you were just on. Huh? I can't wait to see this, actually. Wait till I see it, guys. As soon as I get a chance, I'll play it. I won't play the video, but I'll play the audio part for everybody. And then the whole world can listen. You know, it's better that way, yes. You know, I don't ever think about how many people listen to the show, and I never think about, when I'm lecturing, I never think about who's in front of me. I'll usually pick out 3 or 4 people that I like to kind of watch their faces while I'm talking. Other than that, unless I see a hand go up and it's a Q&A, I'm not.
Well, I just found myself my eyes landing on certain people in the room, and it was really weird because some of them came up to me at the end, and they were where the incident was 16 miles away from a place called Wrexham, and they were sat right on the front row, right in front of me. And I just kept sort of looking at this guy every now and again, Nick, and he came up to me afterwards, and he said, "Oh, we're from the Wrexham UFO Paranormal Society." I was like, "What?" No way. Yes way. So that was quite bonkers, and he was one of the ones that I just kept talking to, you know, but obviously he was nodding in complete agreement with me, so I was bound to.
Well, nobody's going to ever be 100% in complete agreement. That's just part of the field. I mean, like I said, you got to agree to disagree. Now, when they get crazy on me, it's a different story. Like, you know, I'm in trouble with a bunch of these other people right now because of stuff they've been saying. I got issues with some stuff. People say I can't help it. If I wouldn't listen, I wouldn't have to comment. So when people send me stuff, I tell them all the time, don't send me anything if you don't want me to comment. Don't send it to me. You know how I am. I'm going to say something. I got to. It's just some people I'm not surprised by. You know, most of our directors and friends and members and stuff that I've talked to over the years, I've heard speak. You know, I kind of know what to expect when they're talking. Just occasionally I hear people speak, and I'm like, what did you just say? No, you did not just say that. No, you did not just say that.
Oh, you know me. All my bloomers out in public. There you go.
Yeah, but you're talking about legitimate experience. You see, that's different because people are going to relate, even if it's way the hell out there.
Yeah.
You're still gonna be like, wow. I don't know. You know what? Maybe I'll invite. Have you met Travis yet, Sasha?
No, not yet. No. Larry.
Hopefully next year, though.
Larry talked to him about me when he was in Laughlin last year, or 2010, whenever it was. Travis sent his book over for me with Larry, you know, with a really nice message in it. But we have actually, my little boy, he was chewing on the book, and I thought it was really funny when he was a baby, so I picked up the camera and took a photograph, and I put it on Facebook, and there's an absolutely wonderful conversation that goes on for well over 150 posts, with Travis is involved in it, because it's his book, Fire in the Sky, you know, and I have spoken to him quite a lot, and I've read his book, and I just think, wow, I hope I end up with a head like that, you know, the thought processes, and you know, he's so human, he's so philosophical, he's brilliant. So no, I'll be meeting him next year because I am a part of the Putsey Liverpool 2013 and onwards together, because obviously me and Larry are buddies, and you know, we're kind of a similar sort of idea of how things should be, and you know, it's like when you get group things going on like that, you need somebody who's not afraid to say what needs to be done, and I think that's probably where I'll come in. He'll be telling me what to tell everybody. So yeah, I will be meeting him. I'm really looking forward to it because we have a few little similar things in common actually. You know, little incidents that have happened, little memories that I've got that he's sort of shared in that book, which I find quite interesting. So I can't wait to meet him.
Yeah, well, I've talked to him a couple of times myself. I like interviewing him. He's a very nice guy. It's just I make him nervous because I've talked to him twice. I've met him once, talked to him a couple of times, and I've interviewed him twice. And the funny part is every time I ask him something, I always ask him something new, and it just kind of weirds him out. And then right at the end, I had him on air the last time he was on with me. And it was like a trifecta we were doing because Dee had him on early in the year, and then Angela Joyner had him on, and then I had made for a really nice roundabout at Travis Walton. So I'm chit-chatting with him and talking to him, and at the end I said, well, Travis, I said, why are you assuming then people in suits at the end were aliens? I said, you say they look just like us. And he's like, well, yeah, they do. And I said, you had that sense that they were human? He said, yeah, I did. Like, and I brought him to Mill last night.
Yeah.
He's like, But then he told me that there's stuff he hasn't brought up yet. On 2 occasions now, he told me there was something else and there was more in the store. And,
is this the guy in the like biological suits?
Yeah, and the suits. Because right at the end when he said they put him, when he was at the table just before they put him back, there was something he had told me one time when we had talked earlier, a couple of years earlier, and it had been sticking in the back of my head. And it was something I had heard from another contactee earlier about being handed over to the military and then being put back.
Yeah.
He said that he had this weird experience with the aliens where he had been gone like 3 or 4 days. And the Greys had actually handed him over to a government group. And he said the funny part were they were dressed like astronauts, and they were in control rooms that looked like a hangar. But I never put the two together until Travis told me the same thing on the show one night. It just kind of caught me off guard. And that doesn't, even like I told Travis, it might have just been E.T. Travis. I said, but, it was one of them things that stuck out in my mind.
There's something's come up today that actually kind of ties in with what you're talking about now, and ties in with some of the stuff that I've had go on. When I've got a new contactee who's approached me, and the things that she said to me, I just said, I need to talk to Joe about this. And she said, that's fine. Obviously, I'm not going to say anything about her personal details, but, she said that there was one part of it where, she said she was on these black beaches, like there was all these volcanoes all over the place, that they'd been in this boat, but it wasn't like a boat because it was sealed on all sides and it was more like a pod, and they were on the sea, and she said that she could, see the sea that was quite choppy and the waves were really big, but she didn't actually say that she could feel that, What she said was that it was like a pod, but then she started to have a wander about, and it was really big, and she couldn't believe how big it was compared to how it looked on the outside. And then when they were on these beaches, it was like a black beach, and there was like all these orange flashes in the distance that looked like they were volcanoes, and then all these people came towards her wearing these outfits that looked like the Ku Klux Klan. And I immediately thought, because prior to that, she said that she'd woken up in her bedroom, and what she saw was she felt somebody pick her right arm up as if they were checking her pulse and just letting it drop. And she said that she was kind of knew what was going on, but pretended to be asleep. It's just, like when you're in that sort of situation, you just try to sort of make sense of it, like your brain does. But she says she saw what looked like somebody looking at her in an old-fashioned diver's helmet. So if you think about how these memories get smudged, my immediate thought was somebody in one of these either biological suits, the old astronaut sort of thing that people say that they see, a bit like an E.T. at the end, yeah. So then anyway, these black beaches, she said that she thought she was on the Atlantic because of all of the sea. But when I was talking to Dave about this, he said about a place called Iwo Jima and the black beaches, and I was just thinking, well, that's Japan, but I was just kind of reading what she was saying, but she said that then eventually she found this girl lying on a sort of sofa with a green surgical covering on. She looked absolutely terrible, but didn't seem to notice how ill she was. She was chattering away to me like she knew me, but I didn't know her. She was deathly pale, waxy and oddly and strikingly. She had broken into a cold sweat, and the sweat had formed like spherical droplets all over her face. I backed away and told her that I had to go because I didn't want to catch whatever was wrong with her. I'm never that selfish, but for some reason I was. Well, as soon as I read that, I thought, well, in my experience, in Lincoln, when my mum said that she'd had the dream, but had dreamt exactly what had gone on for me, literally, that when I was on this, on the surface after I'd been, the shrink wrap thing when I couldn't breathe, she said that she saw me on a sofa sweating from the waist up. Right, now this is actually documented in Anne's book, which was published years ago, so I can actually totally verify that I've said this. So that totally struck me. But the next thing she said, she's with somebody and she's outside a room and somebody finds her and they take her into this room and there's people talking. She said she's not looking at the man because she was too scared to look at him. But she said she was standing next to two crocodiles. So when I pushed her as to what these crocodiles looked like, they were standing up. They were only up to about her hip. And I'd asked her what they looked like, what their eyes were like, what colour were they. And she said that their eyes were like cats, but really golden. And that there seemed to be either a barrier or glass between them, like some kind of force field or whatever. So I was just thinking straight away, you know, what she said, they had yellow cat's eyes and sharp teeth. They were smaller than normal crocodiles, much smaller, green, and typically, as you would imagine, they had yellow cat's eyes and sharp teeth. They both had very similar sounding names, both of which sounded a bit like oligarch, because I remember making a mental note of it. I felt a bit spaced out and not really in control of what was going on, and therefore didn't feel frightened or anxious, just as though there was nothing I could do. I remember feeling this acutely in a way that I can only compare with being in a foreign jail. There was nothing I could do, so I didn't try to think of anything to do to get away from the situation. The men, I literally cannot remember anything about what they looked like, except that the man that fetched me from outside the room was tall, thin, and I think he was dressed all in black, but I can't be sure. I didn't look at the desk man's face, because one of them was sat at a desk, but I think he was larger. He seemed quite bullish, but maybe I'm just imagining that from how commanding he was. You know, this is how I know that this woman is actually telling the truth, because you don't say things like that. She's questioning everything she's saying as she's saying it. She's apologised profusely for sounding like a nut job. It took her 4 hours to click send, you know. She's, everywhere that she was, she said it was black, or dimly lit. You know, she said, please talk to Joe, anything that helps.
You know, what's strange about it is a few places on the planet that would sound like that, but you know,
yeah,
I've heard now of 3 or 4 places off-world that sounds like that as well.
Uh-huh.
Especially where they say that Council City is that one that sits in a giant ocean. They're supposed to have several black beaches.
Right.
But, you know, but we do know Hawaii has black beaches. I'm sure there's a couple in the Mediterranean because it used to be volcanically active, well, still is. Anywhere you have volcanoes, you can have a black beach. But really, there's only about a handful that I can think of right here. Fiji has them. Hawaii has them. A couple of the other tropical islands will probably have them. I'm pretty sure the Mediterranean does. And other than that, I can't think of anything offhand. Maybe Japan. But these are all in the Pacific, really.
Yeah.
I think so, but, you know, there may be, but what's interesting about it is occasionally we hear of groups being taken off-world on more than one occasion. And sometimes when they're off-world, they're actually in, like, how can you say it, polite society other than our own. I mean, meaning that they're actually in their society and not in ours. It's a little bit different. And the way to figure this out is by asking the individual a few questions. One, what was the overall sense were they having? Were they having that everyone around them was human and the ground? Because this is a weird thing, but I've heard many contactees say this. A lot of times when they're barefooted, for some reason, they get a sense whether they're here or somewhere else. In other words, if they're on a ship or on a different world or on this one. It must be some kind of different sense they get. I'm sure it has more than just being barefooted, but it's a very weird thing when you listen to contactees talk about it. And I have heard about the one colony where they say that it's one big ocean that wraps the middle of the equatorial zone, and there's other water, but that's the only big ocean they have. And then they talk about the world where it's one gigantic, there's nothing on this planet but one big city. And they say the city's about the size of our planet. And it's just sitting there floating around. It has beaches all over, and supposedly has one ambassador for each world out there that's part of this, along with their entourage and everything else that goes along with them, I guess. So I imagine that's why it's as big as it is. But still, you know, it's hard to say because, you know, where were they? Because anytime you start hearing terrestrial stuff, it gets a little sketchy. Was this something they're remembering wrong? Was this something to do with the military, or was this something else? And it's the person, Mark, to that IM you just sent me that says we talk about military abductions. Well, we do, and there's a reason why. One, when a contactee becomes public, they become a target. This is why we're so funny about our contactees in the organization. A lot of us choose to go public, okay? I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot of people in the organization, they have no problem talking about this, knowing it's a good chance they're going to be MILAB, because you reach a point when you talk about this information and whoever runs the MILAB stuff realizes that, oh, wait, this person probably does have some pieces of the puzzle, odds are you're going to get taken. Or if you've been going around saying that you know how to work alien technologies or you've seen alien equipment or so on and so forth, it's a good chance you're going to be taken. So You know, that's why it was so funny about when people say, I want to go public. We're like, do you really? And let me tell you why. One, you can never shut the box once you open it. There's no going back. And it's like I said, there's a good chance if you're a certain level contactee higher that you're going to be mill labs. So you always have to take that into consideration. But there are mill labs that happen before someone goes public, or even if the person ever doesn't go public, because some families are already being tracked. You know, the government's been watching this for a very long time, and not just our government. And from time to time, over the years, for however reason they run into them, they find contactees. And then they also know something about family lines. Once they know a contactee is in a family, then they can go through the whole family because they know there's a good chance that the rest of them are contactees too. They also know that children are, and so on and so forth. So for every one contactee that comes personally open, they open the line up for thousands more. And this gives the government a way in. And I got to be honest with you, the government doesn't know. You know, I know a lot of conspiracy people out there think the government knows everything about this. They don't. Don't ever believe that. The government is ignorant, and it isn't the dark as most researchers are. There would be no need for military abductions if the government knew what was going on. If the government was actually being given massive amounts of technologies and ET was telling them what to do, there would be no reason to military abduct people, none whatsoever. It would just be an expenditure and a thing that would just be too risky for no reason. And some of the questions they ask are about technologies, but they ask a lot of times, what are the alien agendas? Almost every mill-lab abductee gets asked that question. So they're trying to figure it out just like the rest of us are. Don't ever believe that. And don't ever think that our government, it's not that our government doesn't possess more advanced technology than we see, because they do. But don't ever make the mistake that they're competing along the lines of the extraterrestrial technology, because they're not. And if they were, Putin wouldn't be up there laughing his ass off at a bomb. And Iran wouldn't be getting away with half. See, this goes back to the super soldier thing. You know, it's not that I don't think government works on projects to heighten mental abilities or physical abilities. I do believe that. But
there's no evidence of it, and anything that they do like that, the opposite effect seems to happen. Everybody who says they've been microchipped and they can prove it and mind controlled, etc., they all go completely bonkers, exposing it all. It's like it's like the mind cannot be controlled in that way. It'll always fight back. It's a thing that I've had an issue with from day one. They always tell me that. I'm like, look, if the U.S. government had those kind of super soldiers, Putin would be dead. Venezuela guy would have been dead years ago. Cuba, come on, we'd have killed Castro. Absolutely. Maybe they had a problem that he
would have killed Castro. Yeah, it's not how it is. And it's not that I don't think our government's working on psychic abilities, because they are. But if our government had the ability for telekinesis, like these people say, then Obama could order someone to just have squeezed bin Laden's little artery in his brain and kill me. He could have had it done to Putin. Or it's the guy in Iran.
It would just, it's just rubbish.
You know, so all of this stuff would happen, guys, but none of it is. So it suggests that somebody's full of you-know what. I tell this to people all the time. It's not that there's not conspiracy. It's not that the government's not doing stuff, because it is. And some things use some common sense. Look around at the world. Can this work in the world that you're part of today? And how can it work? And if it fits, it fits. If it don't, it don't. But think about it, people, before you open your damn mouths. Damn. Do some research. Oh, have mercy. Anyway, let's get away from that. Well, we got to go to break. We got to go to break in a second anyway. But everybody go check out SashaChristie.com. Sorry about that.
Check out my gravel pit.
Actually, it's a good-looking site. I don't know who put it together, but it's a good-looking site. I know Sasha didn't do it because her brain is like,
no way.
Too organized, man. I know Sasha's brain. That's why we don't build websites.
I have a webmaster now.
See? Well, webmaster, if you're listening tonight, it's a good-looking site.
He's in the room.
Oh, are you? Well, thanks for hanging out with us. Actually, I've been perusing through the site while we've been chatting. Matter of fact, that's where I got your bio from tonight, was off the site. I should have used that picture up there. I used a different, but that's a good picture up there, too. Mark, I think she has an old man. Thank you very much. Some guy named Mark, he's in the UK and he's single.
Well, I'm not, sorry.
It just popped up on my screen. I was like, what the hell was that? Oh, Lord. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go take a break. I want everyone to please stay tuned to UFO Undercover. I'm your host, Joe Montaldo. I'm speaking with Sacha Christie. We'll be back in a few minutes, and I'll get her to give you the whole spiel about who she is, who she works for, and what she does, and all that stuff, and then we'll get back into some more production stuff, then we'll go back to some of the rendition stuff, maybe talk about Larry and Peter a little bit, and so on and so forth. So I want everybody to please stay tuned, and we'll be back in 8.
You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network. Welcome to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to UFO Undercover. Like Sasha says, I am your host, Joe Montaldo. I'm sitting and speaking with ICAR's UK director, Sacha Christie, and she is the UK director, not a province director or anything along those lines. A couple things we're going to get into in a few minutes, guys. I hope everybody's been enjoying the first hour of the show. I had a lot of fun, and Sasha's always a great guest, and there's quite a few other things we want to talk about. Why am I hearing weird noises? And there's just so much that goes on. We were having a pretty good conversation at the break. Yeah, lucky we came back. I got to be honest with y'all. We've had a pretty good conversation, but not much we can talk about with y'all because, unfortunately, there's the cases and criterias and stuff along those lines that, Oh, something I wanted to get back to that we were talking about. Sasha, we were talking about the guys in like the uniforms like the CDC wears and stuff like that. And something I thought was odd, about 10 years ago, I was talking to a contactee about the white cloaks and the black cloaks and stuff that sometimes ETs are seen with. And she said she thought it was funny because, one time she had seen them, they were in this cloak-looking thing, but she remembered when she opened her eyes, because one of them must have had her arm looped under her or something, and must have been carrying her along. When she opened her eyes, she just remembered seeing the reflection of her face in its face. So she immediately thought it was some kind of covering. So it was like they were wearing the cloaks over those uniforms. Now, by the way, ladies, I don't want you to think that they all do that, because they don't. I mean, we've got people describing them with red eyes, and, there's something else, too, while I'm thinking about this. The good cop, bad cop thing. This is something, I don't know where they picked this.
White hat, don't they, in the military?
Yeah. Yeah, see, but you see, this is something that any novice researcher, the veterans are all going to know it, but this is something that ET does for some reason. They will play this on people, especially younger ones, but even it does happen with even older ones. One will come in and be really, really just, how can I say this politely, ass, and the other one will be just the opposite. And it just reminds me of some episodes I've seen on television. And at first, the first time I heard this, I'm like, no way, come on, what are y'all smoking out there, people? And, but no, I've heard way, way too many, contactees. I'm not going to tell them to share anyway if it was something good, but, the thing of it is they really, really, do this, and it's kind of strange that they do it. And it just tells you this is a concept that came long before us humans started using it. Well, wait, they could have learned it from us, maybe. Who knows? Sure.
Yeah.
It's a strange thing, but I got to say, I really do listen. I like listening to these people talk about these particular kind of cases. It's always a good deal. Now, I wanted to ask you, how did Larry and Peter do? See, my brain's good.
Well, this is where I totally came into my own, because I did my talk first thing, then listened to Robert, then it was the dinner break, and so we went off for something to eat, and we took some friends out off for a meal, and who should wander up but Bob Salas and his wife Marilyn, so they joined us. And so, we were chatting away, and we got 3 bottles of wine, and so jibber jabber, and all that lot. I've tried to sort of bring myself a bit back down to earth after the talk. So we went back into the hall, listened to Jennifer Stein talking about the crop circles and whatever. But, after all that booze I had sitting in that dark room while I've been, holding court in this restaurant. So I was I'm a little bit warm, let's go outside. So we went outside and then found ourselves sat outside another pub. And it was a bit like that for the rest of the afternoon until I found myself face down in a puddle of myself and didn't see much of the rest of it. A typical sort of, I've been holding myself onto myself for so long for that moment, and I got to it and I got through it and I just went like that, woo, fell over. And all this week I've been so ill, oh my God, I just knew I would be. So, Peter and Larry will have been absolutely ace, and Davey's putting all the videos together in our segments, and he's going to upload the entire thing in one go as well of all the speakers. So everything is going to be online eventually. It'll probably take him a good couple of months to get through the 10 hours or something of talks, but they'll be up one at a time. Yeah. And I'm absolutely gutted, and I just will never stop kicking myself to death about missing Alan Godfrey speak, because he's a fellow Yorkshireman, a police officer, a really, nice guy, really down to earth, and it was the last time he was ever going to talk as well. So, Sasha, stay off the booze next time. Anyway, I won't be able to drink next time because Larry will chop my head off. Because it's 2013, and if it ain't perfect, then woe betide me. I'll get spanked.
Oh, wait, we're not going there. It's a G-rated show.
He's just looking for an excuse. I better be careful.
Well, I can't wait to hear it because, I know both of them are good speakers. I've heard both of them speak. For all three of y'all are, so... I know everybody who was there was going to, get some new information and enjoy themselves at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, somebody asked me one time, they said, well, y'all are entertainers. I said, well, when we're doing radio, I said, we're entertaining. When we're doing conferences, we're actually trying to be informative. I said, but yes, we are entertaining. I said, but are we entertainers? I said, no, that's not what contactees are. I said, they may be communicators, they may be keepers, they may be a lot of things, but No. I said, but that's not exactly, I said, they're not like performers. And I said, they're not really there to amuse people. I said, but, most contactees have really good, outgoing personalities, very strong, very bold type personalities. So it's kind of part of who and what they are, but it's not something that they're trying to do to appease the people listening. It's just kind of part of their personality.
We become sort of nihilistic, don't we, almost? Once you start, that's it. There's no stopping. It's like, no, well, I've come all this way. I might as well, not even care about somebody's maybe, any death threats or whatever that might come about. Because let's face it, I do stick my face into a lot of, kind of militarized zones, as it were. And the obviously the Rendlesham theory that I put forward brought a lot of wrath from people who think they would know because they're in the military and they were told they were important because they had a pretty non-productive position, really. So it's all about ego inflation rather than skill. Anyway.
I mean, it's like the UK itself. I mean, y'all are kind of in the middle of everything. The US is over here, Russia's above y'all, China's above y'all, Europe's over there on the side of y'all, and then you go down to the Middle East. The UK is kind of like a pivotal place. There's always going to be a lot more activity passing through the country. I imagine it's used a lot of times for breaks along. Well, it's like when they fly up across Greenland and Iceland, sometimes they'll come back down across the island and then stop and then go to wherever they're going to go in Europe. And what's really weird, if you go look on Larry Hatch's site, you will see something very unique. One time, a long time ago, this is like a decade ago, I got bored one day, and I was chatting in the room, and I was playing with Larry Hatch's site. So I started, you can actually start in the 40s and overlay year by year by year by year up until about 2000 or 2002, I think. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching more and more sightings come up, which I expected. Then after about a decade, you started seeing a line from the British Isle to the United States, and then it dropped down and then back. Huh. And then when you came down at the bottom of the United States, Texas and Louisiana, you seen another line going across to the Middle East and then across to some of the islands in the Pacific. And then when you came down and you got below the equator, even on the equator there was a line, but when you got below the equator, you actually see one coming from the middle of, like Venezuela and Argentina, going across to New Zealand and Australia and a few other places, which this was very strange. It also said something that ET kind of follows regular flight paths when it's flying around the planet. And I got to give Larry, he's very strange. He won't let anybody publish his data, put it on sites or anything, but I just want to know he doesn't even do radio interviews. But I got to give the man credit. He really did a lot of hard work there. And frankly, it shows... It showed me a couple things. One, it showed me these lines moving back and across where ET is traveling between the continents, and they're being seen on a regular basis by shipping. So I find that just kind of fascinating.
So, well, I mean, from looking at this, what are you seeing? Are you seeing that they are actually coming from here, or they're starting here and moving outwards? Because, I've sort of thought about this, and, there seems to be a lot of people having experiences in this country, and we are all very connected. Yes, it's a very small country, but there's little things that bring us together that are just too specific, and I kind of wonder, because geologically this country is pretty safe from earthquakes, etc. Yeah. We have a lot of sightings of craft coming out of the sea, going into the sea. We have quite a few people, testimonies of certain types of beings being seen, but when someone with particular recall has seen these in an underground base, and a couple of other people have as well, like especially sort of my lab, if it is military, but the men in uniform working with ET. So it's kind of, I'm starting to see a bit of a pattern, and I was wondering about there being some kind of, I don't know, it sounds daft, but, like alien base underground. And I've even wondered if it was sort of near Forest, Orford Ness, the naval base there, which is quite big. But, it's just mainly because of some of the things that Larry said, that other people that are totally unconnected to Larry have said. They're identical. Some of the things that I've had go on are the same as, little moments in Larry's past, not in the Rendlesham Forest incident itself, but in his other experiences. So there seems to be like a theme there. I've not quite got a full image of it yet, but there's definitely something coming up here. But and I kind of mused that if we were to come across a planet with life, if we had the technology to travel amongst the stars, well, if we admitted it anyway, that what would we do if we came across a planet with some sort of interesting life? We would leave a team of scientists behind, wouldn't we, or something like that, and maybe pop back periodically. All these like alien visitation, maybe, when the government are saying there are no such thing as extraterrestrials, maybe they're not actually lying technically, because they've been here for a long, long time, I don't know.
They have been here.
But I think there's definitely a theme here, Joe, and I'm starting to see, that there's quite a lot of similarities that sort of tie quite a few people together in a very strange way. I've not quite figured it out, but trust me, as soon as I have, you will know.
Well, but remember, this is because you're more up there in the researches. They they do core groups and lot groups, and this is important. Contactees have a hard time with this concept. It's kind of like if there were test tube babies and there were batches. This is basically the same thing.
Yeah, like the project.
And these core groups, whether they're 70 or 17, cannot help themselves. They're all attracted to each other. They're all they all somewhere along the line meet each other, find each other. It's one of the weirdest things I've seen. And as far as I know, there's not that many core groups on the planet. There seems to be, I think that maybe there's 4 that we're pretty sure about, maybe 5, not 100% sure, but they somehow none of they find each other. It's like what I was telling you earlier about, a lot of times contactees will find themselves in their neighborhood, if they're sociable contactees, they'll find a lot of times that they happen to live in a neighborhood with a lot of contactees. Mm. It's like people who go on vacation to Gulf Breeze, or go on vacation to London, or go on to vacation places in the Mediterranean. These are hot spots. These are known heavy abduction areas. And one of the things for me is it always seems that these contactees are drawn there. So it would make sense that they're drawn to each other when they're nearby, and they probably do live and group up in similar areas. It's just one of those things.
Well, you see, I'm not even far from Menwith Hill. As the crow flies, it's not that far away. You know, to drive there, it's just over an hour, you know. Yeah. And I've had experiences where I've seen a man in uniform, and I thought I was in some kind of spacecraft. But actually now I kind of think that it was probably a lift going down.
There might have been. It might have been one of those things, a lift going down. There's so much of this stuff that's weird like that. And I tried to explain this to Kathleen Waldron one time about cross memories. You know, for contactees, we have to deal with the abduction memories. But then if you're a MILAB, you have to deal with the MILAB memories. And sometimes the memories overlay, and then sometimes there are ETs for military abductions, or vice versa. Maybe it's a military person doing an alien abduction. I'm not sure how exactly we would word that, but because it seems different from different people's point of views. But anyway, sometimes they are there, sometimes they're not. But a lot of times, people's memories get crossed like that. They just flip flop, or they'll all of a sudden.
Well, that's the brain trying to piece things together, isn't it? The brain trying to make sense of whatever it's taken in, and it doesn't stop doing that. And I know this because the memories I have of the Wales encounter just never change. It's over and over and over and over, and there's never any closure because there is no alternative ending, But when it's little snapshots like that, and it's all trying to file itself, and I know that I've done this, but I've managed to separate these memories and come to understand all of this. Is that he tries to fit things together to present a plausible thing so that he can leave it alone and not keep going over the same problem. But you do not have a sense of satisfaction with these things, and that's why your brain still keeps thinking it over and over and over. And I've understood that memories cannot be suppressed. They will try and fight their way out no matter what. You might not know what they are, but as soon as I understood the nature of the fighting in my mind, that was causing such conflict in me and causing all of the issues that I was having in my life because I couldn't settle on what was a truth. I realized that as soon as I accepted that the nature of the beast was this, I've started to remember more because I've opened my brain up to thinking that, okay, I don't really know anything, so I'm going to stop trying to piece things together and just keep going over. And the more I go over things, the more I listen to other people or talk to other people, like the people I've been speaking to today, things that they've said have underlined and confirmed things that I've thought and I can recall. And they're seeing the same things. They're having the same, emotions and thoughts while these things are going on. So it's... I want you kind of sort of stop feeling stupid about it and feeling embarrassed and shameful around it, then more comes out because the fight's not on for you to keep any of this integrity that you think that you need to hold on to keep everyone else happy. You just can't do that. So you should just, and this is what I've done. I've just kind of thought, well, I don't know what's going on, so I might as well be a part of it. I want to remember more because, this is a reality for a lot of people. If it's not happening to you, it's happening to somebody it's happening around you. It's really happening, and being scared of it is going to stop you from wanting to recall anything, and therefore, we'll never get to the bottom of anything. And I just kind of want to be like this to say to people, look, you have all this fear about being like this, but you can now come out in hiding. You can, tell your story without everybody having to know. You have to have the internet as the only resource and expose yourself in all of that way, and just teach you how to learn about how you react to things in life so that when things do come up, memories do bubble up, you're not reacting in a really destructive way, because that's often what happens when we remember something. We self-destruct, implode, explode, whatever, and that's not fair, you know. So I kind of think I've figured out a little bit of how we can get better without any answers and try and figure out what's going on, because we're not living in fear. Because we're all in the same boat.
Yeah, well, once you know there's more of you, and you know you're not alone, and you know it's real, it's a lot easier to deal with it. Okay, to answer a couple of questions I've seen going past the room. Actually, you can ask questions on audio from the room. We haven't done it in a while, but I just said a couple of weeks ago we were going to start doing it again. And we've been using the phone lines a lot more, too, but I know if you're overseas, it's a lot easier to use Pal Talk or Skype. So if you have your hand up in the virtual auditorium, I will let you take the mic. Just remember, we can't respond to you until you drop the mic, and you have to keep it G-rated, and you have to tell us where you're from and what your first name is. So just wanted to mention that. But we haven't been taking questions in the room on mic in a long time, so. But Pal Talk swears that audio is better, so, you know, we're always up to change things. All right, sorry for that infomercial there, because there was a little confused, because we used to not take questions in the room over mic. We used to in the very beginning, but then we quit, and now we're going to try again. But we're going to see how that goes in the near future. Very, very strange thing. But it's true, Sasha, that you have to do that to keep your sanity. Because there's no way, even if E.T. did try to tell us everything that was going on, we're simply not going to understand a lot of it because it's beyond our current evolution. But, you know, so you got to be, you know, there it goes, a question right there. You got to keep your sanity about yourself. I don't know, I lose mine from time to time, I have to be honest. I have to go hunting from it every once in a while and find it again. So, excuse me, but I've lost it here for a little while. Because sometimes, you know, I'm listening to people, or they'll do things, and I'm thinking, why in the bleep did they want to do that? I mean, what the bleep did they do that for? You know, the whole time I'm thinking, was this just to piss me off? I mean, is what this was for? I mean, are they that vindictive and shit? Sometimes I get really aggravated with it, but then sometimes I think, you know, damn. They seem to be giving us gifts that we didn't possess before. You know, people's psychic abilities are better, their telekinesis abilities are better. There seems to be a general sense of these people are moving in a better direction and have a better attitude towards life and the planet.
Well, towards each other, you know what I mean? It's like we've forgotten that we are all in this, literally, little spaceship Earth, hurtling through, you know, all this whatever, and we are quite small and pretty insignificant, but we sort of think that we're in control of everything and a product of and contained within everything, you know, and you know, the old question of, well, why would aliens travel all this way just to look at us? It's like, because you think that you're the only thing that they're coming here to look at, and if you just actually have a look outside, wow. You know? Well, and this question here, why humans in general so optimistic about alien advanced life, when possibility there will be danger is very high. Well, you know, advanced life, right? You know, they might not be particularly advanced. They might just have some technology that they can use, and there's good and bad in everything. If they wanted to colonize us, they would have already, you know. And I'd just like to say that, I mean, if we were as afraid of our neighbours and peoples from other countries as in the past as we're told to be now, we wouldn't know anything about the pyramids because we just wouldn't have gone anywhere for fear of being boiled and eaten, you know?
Well, humans are naturally explorers, and to think, you know, if you're an advanced race and you're living in the cosmos, I mean, you may not explore. You may just want to sit in your yard and watch the pretty stars go by. I mean, I can't speak, but there's races out there that can't help themselves. They want to know if they're alone, and when they do find out they're not, I'm sure they want to find out about the alien. I mean, come on, when humans finally get into deep space, we're going to be nosy, beaver, cleaver kind of people. We're going to be in everybody's freaking business, man. We'll have our nose in everybody's butts trying to...
We're here now. This all belongs to us.
That's right.
And if you don't agree, we'll shoot you in the heads.
I mean, that's how we're going to be. So, I mean, you know, thinking there might not be other races out like there, you know, we have to stop and think about this kind of stuff. The planet being visited, that's the easy part. That's never been the hard part. There's lots of evidence to prove the planet's being visited. Not only it's been being visited, but it's been being visited for a really long time. That's not really the issue here. The issue is, what the hell are they doing? And why has he been visiting for so long? What is it exactly? Because like Sasha said, they haven't wiped us out. I mean, they could have easily, 10,000, 25, 50,000 years ago, easily wiped out a race. It wasn't but a few million.
All right. If you look at what we're doing to everything and how we behave and what we're like, right? You know, I wrote a blog recently, and it was like, if you really were an extraterrestrial race and you sort of turned up and saw this, you would either like wipe us out like you would if you had, you know, woodworming, calling extermination. You think, oh my God, you go off for a couple of 1,000 years, just to keep a safe distance, and come back just simply out of morbid curiosity to see if there was anything left, you know? So we are completely mental, and we shouldn't be allowed into the rest of the universe. I think we keep going on about, they might be like this. It's like, yeah, we're judging them by our standards because that's what we're like. You know, we're terrible. We can't even talk to people properly most of the time, let alone, you know, be welcoming about, you know, any of the cosmic culture that's out there. You know, I've had some quite amazing experiences, and I've got some fantastic memories. Not everything has been a scary, like, you know, head beep, but I don't know. I won't change it. I won't change it at all. And I think that we're actually being denied something now. You know, I don't think that all ET are benevolent, and I don't think that they're all malevolent either. I think there's good and bad in everything, and you know, there's something different about the way that we are. As, you know, contactees or anyone who's interested in the subject, I think has definitely had something happen, even if they don't believe it. And especially those who want to deny it, or, you know, put people down for saying they've had these experiences, because, you know, it makes their world safer, and that, you know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, actually. But if we could get all contactees just to kind of stop and look and think about what we're saying here, because, you know, like we were just talking about them wiping us out, or the way the planet is today and the way contactees are today, there's a difference. I mean, contactees are quite a big difference from the everyday person that I'm They got different attitudes, different types of personalities. They tend to be fairly clairvoyant or telepathic or empathic, whatever you want to call it.
And more tolerant.
Yeah, and
people's differences, especially.
Yeah.
You don't get many racist contactees. You don't get many, you know, people like beefing about immigrants. You get beefing about the government and the issues that have brought around this problem of them. You know, it's a different way of thinking, different way of talking. Definitely.
It is. It's a whole different kind of attitude. It's just a strange kind of different thing. So to the other person just saying that I am. No, if they were here to save us or enlighten us, we'd already be saved and enlightened. Remember, they've been here a long time. They could have easily formed a one-world government 10,000 years ago. Not only would we be a united planet, but we would be a united planet much more technologically advanced than we are today. Just think if we could have done away with the Dark Ages, the Middle Ages.
Well, we don't even know what the Dark Ages and the Middle Ages were. We've made all of it up. We don't know any of it. We just made it all up, and now we're finding that there's been civilizations that have been completely advanced. You know, they know things that we've completely forgotten and we are rediscovering with science. You know, it's like, you know, what all this new age. It's not new age. It's old age. It's just we're going back. We've found out that all this other crap actually it just doesn't stand for anything. You know.
You know what New Age was? It was when the people in the United States decided to learn some of the lessons that the Brits and the Islanders had been knowing for, you know, the last 2,000 years.
Just because they were marketing it now.
Yeah, but we couldn't give y'all credit for it, so we had to make it New Age.
Yeah, of course it's you. We've just thought. Yeah.
Anyway, I'll be nice before I start hitting on New Ages, right?
I'll be nice. These people need telling. There's nobody to police this subject. It's absolutely
well, you know, so many contactees end up as New Ages because they don't understand their gifts. You know, they look at all kind of stuff. They look at, you know, different kind of religion, different arts, and then finally end up in a New Age.
And they never stop chasing it because they're just too afraid to actually accept, you know, and they want it to be something fluffy. You know, well,
they like to bury themselves in a lot of it too. I mean, they like to. It's easy to hide in the New Age stuff. There's lots of avenues to hide and make yourself feel better. And
you can just make anything up now and then blame it on quantum thought or something. You know what I mean? It's all meme with me, you know? The meme virus, all that. It's just, people used to call ideas, you know? It pass it on, you know, that's it. That's like, it's now a meme, and it's a brain virus. It's like, oh, for God's sake. Thinking is now a virus.
Well, I gotta say, the government today don't like us thinking for ourselves. I've been noticing that, you know, first I thought it was just the U.S. government that was on this rampage of let's make all the people stupid and dependent on the government, but I noticed this is a worldwide kind of. I'm kind of like, what the hell, people? You know what's going to happen? Y'all just going to keep making everybody miserable until 6 billion of us get pissed off and have some kind of revolution. Like, these kind of people, well, they never learn. All you have to do is look through history. You put the people down, you keep the people down. Sooner or later, the people outnumber you 5 million to 1. They rebel. You know, you may kill millions of them, but they still rebel, and eventually they get their way. So
kill me, I will go 10 more heads.
Why not just give the people their way and get your power that way? Oh no, that's too complicated. It's actually the easier of the ways, but you know, for some reason, governments today they get greedy with power. They get drunk with power, is what it is.
They're absolutely, completely insane. They're not drunk. They're lunatics, right?
They are.
Asylum. The lunatics actually built the asylum.
You know, we ask all the time, how come good people don't get into politics? Because they got to deal with all the crazies. That's why. They're like, no, I'll pass on that. I'll just let the crazies run the planet for a while. Sooner or later, somebody else gets mad.
Everybody was crazy. Anyone labelled crazy, I'm going to listen to it. Anyone labelled sane and credible, I'm just going to, like, all right.
Hey, Cliff down there in New Zealand, what do you mean ET isn't real? What are you talking about? You mean extraterrestrials aren't real? How do you know that? How do you know there's no extraterrestrials in the universe? I'm not even talking about on planet Earth. I was like, wait a minute now. A quick lesson so you know where you are, your place in the universe. 200 billion stars, probably plus 1 trillion planets.
Yeah.
And you're saying there's no intelligent life out there.
Well, don't bore me with the facts, Joe. My open mind is made up.
I'm just, that's just, guys, come on, open your eyes, open your minds, and believe what you want to believe, but look, we're not alone in the universe, only a moron would think we are. And to the other comment I just seen from God only created us, you gotta be shitting me, right? You're limiting God to humanity. If there's a hell, you're going to. That's all I can tell you. If you're limiting the Creator to mankind, you're going to hell for sure.
Yeah,
my God.
Sure, it's like the case. God definitely didn't make man in their image. I'm sorry.
Next thing y'all be writing me, telling me Obama is the next Antichrist or something. I mean, the next Christ or something. Please, people. I can only take so much in one night, okay? Something else I wanted to ask you, right out of my head just now. Something I wanted to ask you about Larry, and I mean, right as I went to ask you, I went, why he want to get brain dead like that? What the hell was it? Oh, well, anyway. Hopefully I'll see him in the States soon. I know he was talking about coming back to New York later on this year. So hopefully I'll get to catch up with him in the States, because he'll be worth the drive up to New York. Well, I'd like to regress him. I'd like to record the session, and put him under regressing. Actually, I'd like to have Linda regress him and then let me regress him. Because really, I think it would work really well, and since everything would be on videotaping and up, you can hear, people don't understand the way we do it. You can hear everything. The conversation before the regression, the actual regression itself, and, what's going on afterwards. Some people tell me I shouldn't put the regression in there, the actual regression, because if somebody goes out or goes under, it would be a bad thing. I don't know, maybe we'll just put the start and then where people are under. I don't know. Well, anyway, we'll see how that goes. But we record everything. Everything gets recorded. And it really works really well. I mean, as long as you don't go planting memories in people's heads, you learn a lot. Even though sometimes it's not actual truth, but a lot of times it's allowing that cover memory to be dissipated away. You get in there, it's like you're eating away at the cover memory. Every time you put them under, you're eating that cover memory a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Eventually a hole pops through, and then you get to see the light of the real memory. And then you can actually start obtaining stuff. And it for a lot of contactees. A lot of contactees don't need it. Like a lot of y'all, it's just the information is there. It's not always in coherent form, but it's there. you know, and
but, you know, all of this nonsense and all this fighting and all these politics stop us from actually talking, stop people from coming out. I can't even tell you how much I have learned this year from saying to people, you know, I'm just saying, this is what I've been through, I have no idea. I think this, I think that, sometimes I think this, sometimes I think that. I don't really know, but I talked to this person and this came up and I realised this and, you know, all the rest of it, and that's the only way you can do it. And the amount of people that have come forward this year has just been insane. And I've been able to piece quite a few things together, you know, that are really quite, I'm not saying it's me and I'm a genius, it's just because I've had more information to sort of like put together to see something going on, you know, and that's it. If people feel safe, they'll talk to you. So, you know, I actually wrote in my blog that now that all the witnesses are becoming the researchers, all the rest of you know, you better start watching how you talk to us, you know, because we all get a kick in the head for being a liar straight away anyway, just to test our mettle to see if we can cope with it, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it's like, well, when we all start talking and we realise that we don't actually need to involve anybody else, we might all just stop talking to you lot. Not you lot, but I'm like, you know, the naysayers, the skeptics, we don't even need them.
Well, somebody asked me the other day to start an iCar Facebook, and just a private network, and let everybody just join it and use it and cut everybody else out of the loop. I'm like, well, that would suck. I said, we all can talk to each other anyway. I mean, there's lots of ways we can all talk on different chat servers, different blogs, you know, radios, phones. I mean, there's a lot of ways for us to get in touch. And it's not that I would be against the idea, you know. I mean, we could have one for a private network for the organization just to post stuff and keep stuff up to date, but really, I mean, Facebook is...
But that's what you have a website for, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Yeah, and I mean, you know, we all talk pretty good. Well, what they're saying is, and I've had a few contactees express concerns about this, that a lot of us talk openly on Facebook, and there's a lot of other people watching on Facebook. Well, that is true. But that's the whole point. We want other people. But a lot
of those other people that are watching are people like us, who are looking at this stuff, looking for answers, and they don't speak. So they read and read and read and read and read. You know, so yeah, we have to be open. I'm not scared. I don't, you know, this is not my fault. I'm not doing this for attention. Well, anyway, I am doing it for attention, but not for the reasons that kind of attention that other people would say. It's because I have felt so alone, and I know that other people feel like that. One of the people that I was with, John, he killed himself because he couldn't deal with what had happened to us. Yeah? So, you know, he's not the only person. I am 100% certain of that fact. Because I'll tell you something, I actually tried to kill myself as well because I didn't know how to live with it. I had no answers, no one to talk to. That should never happen. I've got people talking to me that have never told anyone before. And it's because I've said, this is, you know, this is what is going on with me. I don't know anything. You know, if anything, you know, if you recognise anything in what I'm saying, get in touch. You know? And it's happening, and people are coming out and saying, I'm really glad that I talked to you. You know, it's been such a relief, and I'm glad you don't think I'm mad, and you don't know what it means to me to say, to read the words, I believe you. And I'm like, yeah, I do, because I'm just like you know? So, we've just got to get our shit together, really.
But that's the thing, you know, when I got involved with this, see, it's been 30 years I've been interested in this. 20 years I've been researching with, about 24, 25, because I was at Blue Farm for about 10 years. And 15 years independent, so 25, 26 years, somewhere up in there. I mean, if y'all want to count, since I've been interested, that's 30 years, but we'll say real research, 25, 26 years. I've learned a lot of stuff, and I learned some stuff that I find to be fascinating and exhilarating. I've learned some stuff that scares the living crap out of me. And frankly, there's things that I've heard and been told that I'm kind of wondering, ooh, well, you know, E.T. isn't all that sweetsy, nicey and stuff. But then there's other stuff that makes them seem like they're much more interested in our well-being than even we realize. But there also seems to be a cutoff point, like the contactees or the newer batches of contactees seem to be moving in the direction they're looking for. I don't think if there's 500 million contactees on the planet, then the other 6 billion people are probably need to figure something out. Because I'm not, it's a weird thing because I've noticed this with contactees especially. They're very outgoing people. They really excel amongst their own peer groups and stuff. And they are concerned about the planet and people, but a lot of them have really started to distance themselves from just everyday humans. And at first I just thought it was because of maybe they think their contactees are specialists.
Do you know what I think it is? Because I can tell you something. I'm going through a little moment like that now. It's like empathy. But empathy is not just feeling what somebody else is feeling, is in that kind of like, oh, I understand thing. It's you can actually feel what other people feel about you. And so you feel their negativity and their disbelief, and you see and feel where they're either lying or just tolerating. You know what they're thinking. So you just get to the point where you know that you found other people that you can be with, like, okay, and that you're not getting all of that. You know, it makes you cringe because you just know that they're hiding something from you. It's like, I was going to do a psychology degree, and my friend who was a psychologist said, don't do it. It'll ruin your life because you will always know what your friends are thinking, and when they're lying to you. It's like, I already know that. And that is what it is. It's when people are not like you, they can't quite get it, and you really, really have a time struggling with where you belong, where you fit in, because you're denied all the time in society. So when you find these people, that's where you know you belong, that is where you feel validated, and that is where you know you can make a difference. You can butt heads with other people all day long, and all it will do is drain you. And I think it's because we are so empathic that their negativity literally drains us, and so we avoid them. You know, I'm quite reclusive sometimes because of that. You know, I understand that, the mechanics of that quite well. So, you know, because I've recently, just this past few days, had incidents with two friends that have highlighted this massively. So, you know, it's that feeling. You can feel it from miles away.
It is. You can feel it, and it's hard. Hey, I see a couple newbies in the room. Hey, Erica, where you been hiding? There's contactees are very, you know, it's one of the golden rules for Encore, by the way, is we don't even talk to anybody if they're not empathic. I mean, let's be honest. You're not empathic, you're not a contactee, you're just wasting our time. If you haven't experienced empathic abilities, which is the sharing or giving or feeling or sending of emotions, then you're truly not a contactee. This is something, unfortunately, a lot of contactees have and don't even realize, and it really screws with their lives, because feeling other people's emotions when you don't realize they're not yours can really be just nightmare.
This is it. Sometimes you don't even know what the hell is going on because it's not actually your stuff that you're feeling. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah,
and nobody who's ever had that would even have the slightest understanding of what we're trying to say, because it sounds nuts. But sometimes you don't know if they're your own thoughts or your own feelings. You know, you have to really get to know yourself. You have not got to be scared to look in your own mind and see how it behaves. You know, because you've got to know how you react to things to know that, yeah, that is actually my thought and my feeling, because that's how I would react. Oh, well, I wouldn't normally feel like this about this situation or whatever. You know, and I've learned that from paranormal investigations as well. When I've gone into places, I've felt pains in certain places, and I thought, oh my God, I feel awful, I just want to go home. I never want to go home. I'm on a paranormal investigation. That's not my thought. I said, my head was killing me, my ears were hurting, and I was in a train station. I said, I want to know if somebody's had their head crushed here. And Tom, who was the security manager, said, yep, 1977, guy bent down to pick up his tool bag, and his head got crushed between two buffers in the train. That thought was not mine. You know, that feeling was not mine. So, you know, if you pay attention to everything and analyse yourself and use yourself as a comparison, you will get to know what your own thoughts are and feelings, as opposed to when you're empathically picking something up, or even in a place and picking up the residual energy of an incident that's occurred there at some time in the past. You know, because that is also another thing. You know, that kind of openness and to the energies of a place. You know, it's not about time. It's about places, moments in places. That's all things are. You know.
Well, it's just such a weird thing. I mean, you know, for contact, talking about it being empathic, and they just go through. You know, I was talking with a guy not too long ago, and he heard me talking about some lady contactees I've been talking about earlier. That, you know, sometimes we walk into a room laughing and giggling or start to cry or something. And of course, it wasn't their emotions. But he asked me. He said, "Can contactees send?" I said, "Contactees send all the time." I said, "They have to be trained how to block it and how not to be sending all the time." I said, because, you know, as a contactee, you're walking around with your emotions wide open. So a lot of times, if anybody anywhere near you is even a little bit empathic, you're pushing it right into their heads, and the whole damn room's personality will change when a contactee walks in a lot of times. And if they're sad, the room will get this overall sad tone. If they're happy, they'll get happy. But it's a really weird and strange thing to watch. But I mean, I've personally seen it several times, and it still weirds me out. You know, and you can learn to block it, but damn it, it's a weird sensation. But that's what we go back to. If you don't know it, you're experiencing emotions. You know, a lot of times, and I'm going to tell y'all something too, you, the married contactees, okay? When you get mad at your husband or your wife and you're a contactee, you're pushing that thought. And if you're acting like you're not, sooner or later, that thought's going to end up in a big old nasty fight. So just know it ahead of time. And I would imagine contactees fights are quite a bit more intense because they probably know a lot more about each other than they should. Being humans, I mean, we all like to keep our share a little.
We're all completely, we're so hyper-vigilant.
Yeah. Well, you know, okay, well, no, it's bad because a lot of times when they'll be on the road, we'll be like doing road trips and stuff, and literally, she'll be answering questions before I ask the damn thing, and vice versa. And it's a really weird way to drive around. And if we're in tune, it's really weird because people will be listening to us and they're only getting a piece of the conversation. They're not getting the whole damn conversation. And I've watched people just stare at us like, what the hell is he doing? You know, and it's not just with husbands and wives, but with close friends and other close contactees. It happens a lot. You know, I'll be traveling with contactees or we'll be at conferences with friends of ours and stuff. And frankly, half the time I don't know what they're thinking about it, which makes it just kind of weird. But it's a really
it's like when we got to the hotel, I realised that I had not taken my phone charger. On date, I needed to charge my phone, so we went to the reception and asked if they had one that maybe somebody had left behind. A woman there said, "Oh, I've got a charger you can borrow." It only turned out to be. It was Jennifer Stein who was talking at the conference about the crop circles. She was just there with a generosity straight away. It's like I should have known it was her, you know. But the things that like you were just talking about, it's like almost like the coincidence thing. It's not coincidence; it's synchronicity. But Dave, you know, with my partner, he calls me coincidence woman because I'll be saying something. We were on the train on the way down there and I started going on about solar panels and I was looking right at him and behind me through the window we just went past a load of houses that had loads of solar panels on the roof apparently, you know, and he's like, you are a coincidence woman. But that is it. It's like you can't deny it when you say something or something occurs or it's just like, oh, that's weird, you know. He booked us a hotel in this Welsh town. It's a Victorian town. All the hotels are the Grand, the Victoria, the George, etc. He just booked it online, saw the price, looked at the room, thought, yeah, that's nice, we'll have that. Sent me the link to it, and I said, are you joking? It's called the Space Boutique. I thought it was so ridiculous. I actually included it in my talk. I was like, look, this is how weird my life is. We stayed at the Space Boutique. We went and had our photograph taken as time travellers, walked around the corner into the UFO museum. You know, it's like...
This is crazy stuff. They, oh, wait, we got all kind of people with us. Let's see who we got first. Treese, can you hear me?
Certainly can.
Yeah, I brought Treese on because Jason's with us, too, because we're going to be stealing Treese's show this week. And but we didn't tell her yet, y'all.
Excellent. Well, Libby Roswell. So.
and then I got Stephanie and Chris are with us as well. Steph, Chris, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, y'all sound a little low here. What are y'all doing? It's a little late up there in New York now.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
Having a few shots of scotch before we came on the show. That's what it is.
Okay, I know Sasha should know all of y'all by now. Yeah, she knows Tree, she knows Jason. She knows everybody. Okay. We're all happily introduced. But anyway, I'm gonna let Stephanie and Chris go first. So, Steph, Chris.
All right. Well, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Second Sight, we have Nick Redfern, and we'll be discussing The Real Men in Black, one of his books, anyway.
Yeah, I read it. A cool book, and I'm looking forward to talking to this guy. I hear a lot of really good things about him, and I know you guys all know him. So we're looking forward to talking to him tomorrow.
Well, I've spent a few days with Nick. He's a really good guy. He's really, really nice, and he's not a fool. So that should be a good show.
Yeah, I've interviewed him once or twice, and he's one of the people to listen to in this field. He's not one of the nutters. I'll just put it that way. He's good stuff.
And there's a lot of nutters out there.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking Nutty Buddy, but anyway, we're just going to move on. Actually, I like Nick. I've interviewed Nick, 10, 12, 14 times, somewhere up in there. But not as many as Stanton Friedman. I think Stanton Friedman holds my record, at 17 or something. The first 2 years I was doing radio, I think I interviewed him 7 times or 8 times. But, I love Stan to death, but you can only listen to what he has to say so many times, and you got to be like, okay, I got to listen to somebody. But Stan's and I'd bring him on any time. I don't want to take anything away from that. It's just, he's pretty topic-orientated to what he talks about. And I've heard his lectures, and I've heard him speak many times. I
just bluntness, the way, no. This
I did too. He's
not up for debate.
Well, yeah, to me, he's the godfather of, him and Walt Anders are the godfathers of ufology. They make the hardcore, UFO people. And then everybody else comes after. I like Ted Phillips, too. I think he's a good ufologist, too. But that's ufologist. As far as I don't know what everybody else is called these days. Everybody got their own names. It gets confusing now.
Well, with Stan's just an awesome guest to have. I mean, the man can practically interview himself. Seriously, a retarded monkey with a radio show could interview Stanton Friedman. It would be an awesome show.
Yeah, Stan, of course. I used to pick on, he was on one night on Wake Up USA. I said, Stan, I asked him something about Roswell. I said, well, I'm going to go make a cup of coffee and a sandwich. I'll be back. And I was literally gone 15 minutes. I mean, I could hear it because I had the speaker on. But I was literally gone 15 minutes before I came back and sat down and set my coffee down and started eating my sandwich. He was still talking, by the way. And I love him to death. To me, he's like one of my favorite interviews. He's just easy to do. He really is. Anyway, where was I? Okay, Trish, you still...
I certainly am. By the way, great interview as always. And Sasha, congratulations. I wish I'd been there at that presentation. I want to see you speaking at other great conferences. I know that was a superb one in England. Yeah, we're thrilled you were there making your address.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was great. Thanks, Trace.
Yeah, now, I think I'm going to be... Absolutely. We want to have Sasha here in the United States making presentations. She's really a wonderful field advocate, and we are thrilled she's a member of ICAR. Now, and one of our directors, the ICAR UK director, as well as the director for other organizations. She's superb. Now, Joe, I'm thrilled about you and Jason taking up my time Friday, because I think at this point I'm going to be in Roswell. And, of course, on July 6th, I'm going to have Preston Dennett as guest discussing UFOs over New Mexico. But tell me about this program Friday with you and Jason. Sounds great.
Excuse me there. My vicious animals got loose on the neighbor. Sorry about that, guys and girls. Actually, me and Jason are going to, how can I say this in a G-radio? We're going to have a bitch fest. Come check it out. We will open the lines up, probably not for the first hour, because Jason and I can talk pretty good. And we will open up the lines, okay? May even run into a 3-hour show. You never know. But we will open up the phone lines. We will open up the Power Talk Virtual Auditorium as well. And, of course, the regular venues, Facebook, MySpace, LinkedIn, God knows what else we're on these days. But they're all linked back to my email, so you can catch us that way. Topics, I don't know. I'm sure there'll be some ufology. What do you think, Jason? I think there'll be several rounds of topics.
Well, one of the things that I kind of want to go over, and this is actually a source of some of the things that I have to bitch about, is what exactly is involved in being a quote-unquote abduction researcher. Well, I won't get into it too much here. One, it takes a lot of time. It takes a few interpersonal skills. But, I don't know, if you want to be a researcher in this field and talk to contactees and try to get down to the bottom of this, I'm sure that between Joe and I, and present company included, we could probably give you a few pointers on, exactly what it takes. And, hell, it's it's an interesting field to be in, but sometimes it just gets a little bit annoying thanks to a handful of individuals here or there, and we'll give you a few tips on how to deal with some of those if you want to get involved in the field.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, Chris, y'all still with us?
Yeah.
Lady from the Bronx writes to me and wants to know if you can exorcise a gray alien out of her house. I said, I will pass it on to him. I said, so I told her that, and I told her to come check out the show Thursday night. She can call in or write into you. I was like, exercise a gray. I said, you're just going to get the man probed. And then he's going to have alien triplets instead of alien twins.
Give him my number. I will talk to this woman. Absolutely.
Joe, why don't you come to New York, and we'll all go do it together.
Oh, no. Thank you very much. I get enough trouble. I don't need any help. Somebody asked me one time, why did I get involved in an organization? Why do we have directors, blah, blah, blah. And I said, want the truth? And they're like, yes, and it's to keep my ass out of trouble. I said, I need all of them to keep you out of trouble. I said, Lord have mercy, I'd be in trouble all the time. Unfortunately, I got bad habits of speaking my mind, which, that's not a good thing to do in today's society, apparently.
Rubbish. I think that's exactly what everybody should do, if they know their own mind.
Well, everybody's in this group right now. I mean, the whole group of everybody that's sitting, 5, 6 of us, they're all kind of open, what did you say? Excuse me. Let me explain how you're an idiot. I mean, why you're wrong.
Well, I'm just fed up of all this politically correct, standardized brain vomit that everybody seems to be spewing out, just to sort of sound cool and not actually take any of the incoming.
I'm overdue for a good political rant. I got a little one going the other night, but I'm overdue. Well, I was supposed to do a Change in America last Friday, and I got tied up with something else. But don't worry, guys. I'm sure Friday night we'll touch on a little politics. Y'all know I have to worship the Emperor of Barack Obama, the one and only, the greatest president to ever. Okay, anyway, we'll move on. Anyway, we're moving on to the next.
It looks like Friday I might be spending a couple of hours trying to keep Joe on topic and off of Obama.
Look, I'll be there. I'll be there. Heckling in the room.
I'll be good. No. Actually, because really, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I will post this on Facebook tomorrow to let everybody know we're going to be doing this Friday night. But if you want, you can post any questions or any questions that you might have for Jason and I. You go ahead and post them on Facebook or something like that. Any of the places, and we'll go ahead and have them when we start. Because there are we definitely want to talk about this. There's some whininess and ufology that has to be dealt with, and in several location, and it's just time that somebody addresses it. There's also some other stuff that need to be addressed, some gaps forming in the field. Talk a little bit about the video on fact or fake. I will try to get it up tomorrow. That way everybody have a chance to look at it again for Friday night. Y'all can tell us what you think about it. Anybody who caught the episode last night, for all the people who wrote in, thanks again. I mean, I didn't realize if y'all watched it. That was cool. And the best thing about the whole thing is that they actually used my real name. Other than that, they only showed I think they showed, I want to say 5 seconds of it, 10 seconds of it. Just enough to let you know how good my camera really is, because it's all the way zoomed in when you're looking in the beginning. You can see
into other dimensions.
Yeah, and then when you're coming back with it, you hear the guy say, oh shit, it was way out. He was actually shocked that camera had that good of a view on it. He's kind of like, whoa. And, but it was a cool sighting, but it was just a sighting. I don't know what it was. It was a UFO. Okay, where are we? So 9, 10 after. What was I getting ready to say? Oh, so don't forget, come check Jason Friday night. We'll be hosting in Teresa's spot. We will try to be behaved because Teresa has a very good show. We don't want to be bad. We'll keep it mostly G-rated. I was going to say all G-rated, but I'm just going to be lying, so I might as well say mostly G-rated. And
FCC for show.
Well, we got the bleeper on, but we'll have the bleeper on. We'll probably leave it on FM, but we'll have the bleeper on. I'll have it on like a 15-second delay that way. So it'll make sure that it catches anything that Jason or I slip on. So the audience will hear, did you see that bleep in alien? And so that's what y'all will hear. But for everybody else, you'll hear the F word in there. Don't forget, Karen will be on early. I forgot who she told me she had on with her. maybe we'll get her to come hang out with us for a little while, too. Also, any of the regulars, any of the radio show hosts that may be around Friday night, if you want to join in, let me know you're around. We will be using Skype, so you can always pop in with us. You know, Jason and I are very nice people, and we don't cause any trouble. So, if you're a troublemaker, don't come, okay?
We're going to be there, Joe. Joe, we're going to be there.
Yeah, we know you're an angel, Stephanie.
Could you let me ask a question? If we aren't in Roswell, can we join?
Oh, hell yeah, girl. You know, you call in.
75% chance, 80% chance that we might be in Roswell.
If y'all are in Roswell, if you get bored at Roswell and you want to call in, sure, call in.
Okay,
you know, we'd love, we'll talk to Jason. I'll talk to anybody. Bigfoot could call in. We'd be like, hey, what's up, brother? How you been?
Hey, who knows? You might have to come on to keep me and Joe from wrecking your show and ruining your reputation.
Well, fortunately, they will know the difference in voices, so you're okay there.
I think it's great dialogue. I think it's just a great dialogue.
Teresa's voice has really changed. Actually, usually Jason and I do good shows. We pretty much. For everybody who's listening tonight, most of y'all should have heard Jason and I talk a few times. If you haven't, you really are missing out on something special. Because we do have a good time. We've been knowing each other for a long time. And between us, we know a lot about a lot of damn things. So we can breach a whole buttload of topics. Oh, we'll even talk about our friend with his imaginary yellow submarine. Okay, listen, y'all guys. Shh, Casey's around. This guy, Barry, comes in our virtual auditorium, and he swears he lives in this little yellow submarine down
in an octopus's garden.
And and then he gets down there and he's playing his guitar while he's 2,500 feet down. Yeah, he really is. Barry's going to hear this and go, oh, you son of a bitch.
And if you've ever heard a microphone, he kind of talks like this.
Yes. But anyway, I was giving him hell about it last night when we were on here. And, and Jim, we don't be hearing about you and his marriedness, okay? I don't need to hear about things like that. This is a G-rated room. Oh, Lord. Oh, that's right. I forgot Jim was in last night when we were talking about that particular subject matter. All right, we're going to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Chris, Steph, thanks for hanging out with us. Go ahead, one more plug before you go so everybody knows where you're at.
Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Second Sight NYC. We'll be interviewing Nick Redfern. Hope you all join us.
All right, guys, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Trees, if Friday night you hanging out, let me know. We'll bring you in. If you decide to call us
in Roswell.
and anybody else, Sasha, Sasha, and everybody. Oh, Sasha, by the way, great job tonight. I meant to tell you that before we get out of here, but Sasha does a great job all the time. And then, guys and girls, Sasha, anybody else listening to us tonight, if you want to join us and listen Friday night, we will be on a Global Focus. Jason and I will be hosting from 8 to 10. Also, if you want to join in, as long as we know who you are, feel free to call us and let us know, and we'll put you in the queue with us. And it's not that you can't call in. Anybody can call in. I don't want y'all to take the wrong way. But we may let some of the other hosts or some of our friends just...
Did we lose Joe?
I think he fell off the internet.
All right, let's take over the
All right, let's talk UFO Undercover.
This is historic moment. This is the most historic moment anybody has ever seen in the entire history of the Paranormal Radio Network, because Joe Montano actually shut the fuck up a second.
Disappeared. Oh, look, he's
calling himself.
God is calling out.
I was taking hostage there. What the hell? By the way,
Joe, we were taking over.
Oh, Lordy, what the hell was that about? Anyway, we're getting out of here for sure now. Oh, Lord, I don't even know what the hell that was. Sasha, thanks. You did a great job tonight. Everybody else, thanks y'all for coming and hanging out. Jason, I'll see you Friday. Stephanie, Chris, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Everybody else, stay out of trouble. Enjoy your life. Look, I tell y'all this every Wednesday. People, enjoy your life. Have some fun. If you don't try, if you don't get involved, and all you do is sit around, you're going to regret it when you're like 100, okay? You're not going to enjoy your life. Shit. Have some fun. It's short. Trust me. Hey, if you even live to be 100, think about how old the universe is. 15 billion years. You know what 100 is to 15 billion? It ain't even a grand on a sand on a damn beach. So you better enjoy it. Anyway, good night, everybody. I'll see you all next Wednesday. Yeah.